It's November 15th and I'm coming to you from beautiful Summerland, BC as we're reaching the end of the fall. This is our first video in what happens during your appraisal. So we're going to start with the beginning step, which is the agreement. Before we proceed with the appraisal, we want to be able to come to an agreement together as to why this is taking place, how it takes place, and what you are looking for so that we can make sure we agree on this up front. So in the agreement, of course, we're going to talk about the property, where it is, what it is, the intended use of the appraisal. It does matter. We often get asked, does the value change if it's for a different use? The answer is no, but we need to know it has to go in the report. We need to know who's relying on it. So is it for mortgage lending? Is it for litigation? Is this a separation? And there's all kinds of other uses, including tax purposes. The other thing that we need to know is what the scope of the project will be. So in other words, are we going into the property? Is it something that we're just doing from our desktop? Are we driving by the outside? So in other words, how detailed is the inspection? If the property has redevelopment potential, are we going to be investigating that? Or are we going to be ignoring that? If we're ignoring it, that's got to be very clear. And all of these things have to coincide. So if this is a buyout, but you want us to ignore something, does that make sense? Is that fair? Is that fair to the person who's selling their half? No, it's not. So that's why this discussion has to take place. As well as the property and the scope of work done, we have to talk about the expectation of time. So in other words, when do you need this report back and when can we get in if we're going in? We also want to talk about the price, of course. What does it include? What is the total price? And how is it paid? Is it paid all up front, which it often is in our industry to keep this a non-biased experience? Or is it some up front and then some just before we deliver it? And finally, is there any expectation of value? So it's not a case where, oh, that's fine, we'll hit that value. Of course not. We need to know what you're expecting or what you're thinking and why. Can you show us the evidence so that we can consider that in the report? If you're buying a house for $2 million and you have an accepted offer, that's evidence. We want to look at that. We want to look at that contract. And if you know that your neighbor sold for $2 million, we want to see that. Maybe it's a private sale. So let's talk about the value a little bit up front. What is your expectation? There's cases where we'll just say, you know what, I think we'll have to part company because the expectation probably is not going to be met. So it's really important to have that discussion as well. So this is our first part of the appraisal experience together, the agreement.